All right, welcome back to Live at 9. And we've got our favorite doctor here with us this morning for Wellness Wednesday. We're talking about student athletes and, of course, their parents. They both need to be aware of the importance of safety on and off the field. Today, we have Dr. Quinn to advocate safety over winning. Good morning, Dr. Quinn.
Good morning.
So, Dr. Quinn, do you have any examples of students getting injured on the field?
I certainly do. And the student that I'm going to refer to first is Dr. Quinn. Believe it or not, I played football 50 years ago. And everybody told me that it sounded so loudly that you could probably hear it a mile away. It was almost like just a boom.
Oh, no.
What happened was I was on the kickoff return team, but I was also on the defense. And I ran out on the field for the kickoff, and the opposing team received the ball, and they were running the ball, and I ran down the field as fast as I could, and I had a head-on collision with another player from the opposite team. I fell to the ground, but I looked up, and the coach and the rest of the staff were around me, and they were like, "Are you okay?" And that's what I could hear. It's like the whole stadium was just swirling around.
Oh, wow.
And I could hear like beep. And I said, "I'm good, coach," because back in those days, and because we didn't have this information that we're providing today, we thought as students it's best to stay in the game and show them that you're tough. You're not a loser or just a weak person.
Right.
So we would pretend that we were okay so we could stay in the game, which was terrible. Because basically what we're going to talk about today is a concussion, a post-concussion, the vulnerability of staying in the game. But what happened was, so they went on offense, of course, and we stayed on defense, and they fumbled the ball, and I went to the sideline so our offense could come out on the field, which was a blessing, because had I stayed on the field and got hit again while I was still under the concussion symptoms that I was suffering, I could have had a second concussion on top of a existing concussion with post-concussion syndrome probability and had permanent brain damage.
Wow, that is so scary when you put it like that. And some people may not be aware of how quickly that can happen or what symptoms to look out for. So what is the responsibility of coaches and trainers when it comes to watching for those symptoms? Maybe they did just get hit or they're dealing with an injury. What is the responsibility of them?
Number one, take them off the field. Don't leave them out there. If there's any question, evaluate the person. They have certain protocols in place now that they did not have back then, where the player has to come to the sideline. If there's any suspicion, they have to go through a concussion protocol evaluation where they have to, it's almost like a sobriety test where you have to walk, make sure you can walk without wobbling, you can answer questions, and then let them sit there for a while just to observe them and then go back and repeat it. I personally suggest you repeat the testing, because sometimes the symptoms can be slightly delayed. Also, as the players and the parents, you have to take on the responsibility to understand that if you go to the sideline, you're not letting your team down, you're being responsible, and you're looking at maybe sitting out that particular quarter or that half of the game or the entire game if you don't, get returned to play. But you'll be there for your team, not only for that game, but for the rest of the season. Even if it's the last game, sitting out so that you won't be out for the rest of your life. It's very important that everybody be involved in keeping that child out of the game.
Absolutely, Dr. Quinn. So would you suggest to completely just step away from that sport if you do have a concussion? What should you do if you get diagnosed with a concussion?
Well, if you get diagnosed with a concussion, the best thing to do is go visit your medical provider if you suspect that you have that situation, and that medical provider will refer you to a neurologist, and the neurologist will evaluate you and give you a better assessment of where you are as far as should you continue to play with that season or sit out, how many games, and when it's safe to return. Because at the end of the day, if you go out there and you're not ready, you could lose your life or have permanent brain damage and have some type of permanent problem. So you have to look at the big picture.
Yeah, that's a really crucial point. Although this may seem like, you know, the biggest thing in our world at that point in our life in high school or in middle school, really the biggest thing is that you put your health first and your life before that sport. So this is a really good topic as we get into high school football coming up this week and also college football this weekend. All right, Dr. Quinn, thank you so much for those tips, and we'll see you again next Wednesday.